Sup. So, I've been doing this whole YouTube thing for a decent while now. Actually, hold on, give me a sec. Wait, I don't have a watch. One of the things I really cut my teeth on from the beginning of my YouTube career until now was YouTube shorts about modding various Warframe weapons. They were quick, easy to make, and were a great way to practice my editing, scripting, and actually pronouncing sentences like a human being. Somehow, through the cruel tides of time, it's been almost 2 years since I've started doing these shorts regularly, and while I'm definitely not stopping modding shorts entirely, I do want to try focusing a bit more of my effort towards medium to long form content in the future. So let's send this first chapter of the channel off with a bang. Over the next few weeks, according to committee decision, I'll be releasing 3 videos that compile every secondary, melee, and primary modding short I've done, before releasing a larger supercut somewhere down the road. Just keep in mind that I've learned a lot about Warframe modding while I've been doing this series, so if you see some outdated knowledge or straight up modding errors, don't worry about it. Let's get started with weapon group number 1, Secondaries. You know what? I'm tired of meta weapons. Let's talk about the Athodai. You wouldn't be mistaken for having no idea what this gun is. It was a Twitch drop 3 years ago, and is now exclusive to railjack farming. But the Athodai is neat. It looks like a toy ray gun and has some slick visual effects. While most weapons in Warframe only get 1 gimmick, Athodai gets 2. First, the Pandero clip dump, but awesome, and a passive buff that makes the gun good on headshots. For some reason though, DE decided that this was just too much power and made it also lock off the secondary fire while the buff was active. Not like you'll need it though. For a first time build, I'd recommend crit and status with viral damage and lethal torrent. If your aim's good, you'll have infinite ammo and a jacked fire rate. And when your buff runs out, the alt fire works to soften up enemies to get the combo rolling again. And that's how you use the Athodai. Good luck getting it, my guy. Bars. The Euphona Prime is an incredibly vaulted, prime-only secondary that can either fire slugs with drop, or do buckshots. I mean, fire a buckshot spread. The goofy part comes when one firing type is all crit, and the other is all status, and they don't even share a primary damage type. Back in the Stone Age, when this gun was still obtainable, builds had to either focus on exclusively one of the 2 modes. But I think that's not really in the spirit of the weapon, so I cooked this up. A hybrid build, daring, I know, with crit, galvanized shot, and viral heat. This lets the alt-fire serve as a primer to the main gun. People still like primers, right? Yeah. Primers! Euphona Prime has some pretty alright single target damage, which is all you're really gonna get, because this gun has absolutely 0 punch through. Although it would be pretty perfect for a Riven mod. So like, if you've got one, you know, frickin' gimme. The Vaykor Marelok has gotta be one of the weapons most in need of an Incarnon. This thing used to be absolutely goated back in the day, but now its status as a low fire rate single target weapon makes it little more than MR fodder. And that's saying nothing of the base Marelok. This can be bought from Steel Meridian at max standing. It's got good range, a slow fire rate, and some of the sickest animations in the entire game. Modding for this weapon is pretty bug standard. Get your crit mods in, and then enough status mods to get to 100% chance, then you can add primed heat to charge. This last slot is where you can have a bit of fun. You can use lethal torrent, or hemorrhage, weirdo, but hear me out. Shrapnel rounds. I know the minus damage sounds bad on paper, but the absolute insane amount of multi-shot it gives results in a ton of status procs, which works to give an overall damage increase after your galvanized mods get up and running. Now, it's still not good, per se, but it is the best you're gonna get. The Velox is Protea's signature pistol. It fires insanely fast, has latent ammo efficiency, and it reloads faster when the mag is empty. That's it, that's the weapon. But, admittedly, it is really fun to use. The recoil is low, but it can become an issue when you scale the fire rate even higher, so my advice is just aim for the neck and pray through the number vomit. For building, you want to aim for your core galvanized mods and crit with lethal torrent and viral damage. Now, you could add heat onto the end here, but then I would just be giving you the build for every pistol weapon, and I'd be out of the job. Instead, you can use accelerated isotope, which still gives you a status for gundition overload, while also letting you embrace the sheer stupidity of 30 bullets per second. You could also add steady hands in the Exila slot, but I'm saving my resources for Velox Prime. God, I really hope that doesn't end up having a passive that breaks this whole build. DE, I am begging and pleading for you to fix Lone Gun. This is the Vasto Incarnon, an upgrade for a single, but not double Vasto, that turns it from an incredibly mid-damaging 6-shot secondary into In addition to being the coolest possible way to blow up a Embolist, Incarnon Genesis also blesses the Vasto with amazing base crit boosts, reloading while holstered, and 6 more bullets. The stars of the show, though, are its Evolution 2 perks. Lone Gun, while you don't have a primary equipped, gives an insane base damage increase and bumps the magazine up to 20, which would be really cool if it actually worked. As things are now, it provides no bonuses, so we're forced to use Death Trap Trigger, which gives a crit chance and damage boost for 3 seconds when you equip the weapon, which is finicky if you want it to be your main weapon, but as a kill that guy right now emergency option, it's immaculate. And I mean, come on, you actually fan the hammer. How can you not love it? This genuinely took the Vasto from insanely mid to one of my favorite weapons. It's just really a shame about the broken perk. If I have to farm another Seraglass shard, I just might give up and let the indifference win. This is the Sepulchrum, a rocket pistol obtainable from the Entradi family on Deimos. Like all Entradi weapons, in addition to having the best aesthetic in the entire game, taking down enemies builds up a charge, allowing you to use the Sepulchrum's alt fire, which locks onto several enemies and launches a frankly disrespectful amount of missiles that's almost guaranteed to wipe anything off the map. Modding this weapon is pretty straightforward, except that you should use Hornet Strike instead of Galvanized Shot, since this gun is all explosions. Sepulchrum overall is an incredibly powerful pistol, and it makes me desperately want more Entradi tech weapons. Well, I think we found it. The meta. This is the Ocucor, the Batacor's littler sibling who's more successful and liked in every single way. It can be researched at your dojo, and the resources to build it come from the Orb Valis. On paper, this gun seems pretty unassuming. You get one singular non-chaining beam that does alright, but after getting a kill, the gun gains another beam, up to 4, that all auto-aim and damage other enemies. But, I mean, they go away when you reload. However, here comes one single weapon mod, and yeah. Sentient Surge both refills the magazine on kill, meaning you keep your extra beams, and it provides insane stack and crit and status boosts for each beam active. This allows you to essentially WM1 your way through all content in the game. But I gotta admit, it is really, really fun to use. Also during Nibera's Sentient Surge is available from Daughter for Mother token, so you should go and buy it right now. Okay, bye. This is the Embolist, which I can only describe as a literal infested fart gun that has 2 unique mods, no crit, and no hope of being a viable weapon. Vile Discharge, an augment I foolishly purchased during Nibiris, accumulates damage dealt up to 30k, and then fires it in a single projectile with a tiny explosion that isn't affected by any of your mods. So it's basically worthless for anything past, like, level 40. All it's really left to do is use Eroding Blight, Embolist's Syndicate mod, and just add as many statuses as possible and pretend you're using an incredibly mid flamethrower. It really is a shame about this one. The augment could have really turned it around, but as is, it's just not useful whatsoever. And the 5 mutagen samples used to build the gun itself could definitely be put to better use. 2 weapons? Only 2 new weapons. Nah, it's fine, it's chill, I'm over it. Vesper 77 is a silenced pistol from the streets of Hulvania with an added laser sight. The Vesper's unique traits include a silencer and a laser sight. Bit straightforward compared to future era weapons, but I'll take it. And naturally, this gun is fully silenced, so if you're in the 0.1% of gameplay scenarios where stealth is effective, that's good to know. The laser sight activates when aiming and gives you 40% increased critical damage. It also highlights enemy weak points. It doesn't make them easier to hit, mind you, but it's a good informational tool when trying to find the crit, something Warframe players famously struggle to do. My first thoughts with this weapon were, ew, single target weapon with a low fire rate and magazine size? But this update has seen some new mods that make guns like the Vesper a good bit more viable. Semi-pistol Cannonade and the new pistol Acuity and Magnetic Might mods let you fire singular bullets loaded with the power of a small neutron star, which can be scaled even further by Warframe abilities and companions. But I like to just cover the weapons in these videos, so we're not going to go over any of that. So yeah, I went in with pretty low expectations, but the Vesper's a fun, viable weapon with several traits that make it stand out from other pistols. The Aegrit are mid. I'm sorry, let's go back a bit. The Aegrit are throwing bombs of Grineer make that you can buy from Chipper at Call's Garrison. They function similar to the Kastanas and Talons, embedding themselves in enemies and surfaces, and then detonating when you press the Alt Fire button. And I gotta admit, the explosion and sound design are really nice. That's it. That's everything nice I have to say about this weapon. You see how you carry 6 total bombs in the holster? Yeah, it's not a cute aesthetic. These things have approximately 3 whole magazines in them. So you'd think, oh, so I dump my entire ammo reserve at a spot, bunch up the enemies there, and obliterate them all at once, right? wrong. For some darkly comedic reason, Aegrit can only have a maximum of 4 bombs out at a time, a limit that is affected by multi-shot, so not only are you limited to the amount of random crap you can throw, but that limited amount is also wildly inconsistent. All this in service of a weapon with decent damage, but insanely inconsistent weapon spread, and a wimpy status chance that disqualifies it from mass priming, the one thing it might have been useful for. It's just a really weird weapon to have something so deep into the game and so off the beaten path, but it's so aggressively limited, you know? At any rate, there's definitely much better massively explosive weapons that can scratch your Mr. Torgian itch. It's absolutely crazy that the greatest priming secondary also gets the highest base crit chance in its entire category. This short uses the Epitaph Prime, which has higher stats than its normal counterpart, but both weapons still serve the same purpose and their builds are identical. Epitaph is a charge-based secondary, which, depending on when you fire it, will either create an AoE explosion with innate blast damage, a guaranteed cold proc, and crazy status chance, or fire a tungsten rod at Mach 12 with some insane critical numbers, resulting in quite possibly the freest million-plus damage you will ever hit in your life. The intended use of Epitaph seems to be similar to the Cedo, with uncharged shots being used to soften up enemies with status effects before switching to fully charged shots for the closer. However, you can also forego the Epitaph's damaging properties altogether and just mod out its uncharged fire into one of the greatest status primers in the game. Both of these builds are good, like comically good, for whatever type of damage you want to get out of it.